the internet systems. So in this, online communication and transactions were made in the internet systems. So in the blockchain technology, so the data is stored in many computer systems. Okay, so there is no centralized system here in the blockchain technology. So what do you mean by blockchain technology? It is a decentralized as well as distributed digital ledger. The system continues to operate even if some nodes are failed. Hello everyone, myself Chandana C, Faculty of Computer Science Department, Vidyashram, First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So today we are in the first session of Unit 1 of the subject Blockchain Technology. So this is one of the subjects in your 5th sem BCA. So let us look into our agenda of today's session. So in this session we are going to know about the evolution of digital systems, then introduction to blockchain technology, then what are the difference between distributed system as well as the distributed ledger technology, and also we are going to know about the blockchain architecture and the components. Okay, so without much wasting our time, let us move into the evolution of digital systems. So how the evoluted the digital system? So here we can see the timeline from the 1991 to 2020. So this diagram is showing us the timeline of the history of blockchain, how it is evaluated. Okay, so the evolution of digital system, it is going to refer to the development of data storage as well as the processing methods from manual system to modern decentralized blockchain technology. So in this, we are going to know about how it is evolved from the development of data storage manually, how we are storing, okay, to the processing methods from manual system to modern decentralized blockchain technology. So here we can see this diagram, okay. So in this diagram, it's showing the timeline. So it's showing the timeline of the major milestone of the evolution of the blockchain. So from 1991 to 2020. So here we have two persons named Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta. So they developed the cryptographically protected chain of blocks, okay, in 1991. So after that, in 1998, the Nick Szabó, he working on the BitGold concept as a decentralized virtual money. Okay, he introduced this concept in 1998. So although this idea is not launched, so hence they took this idea, this BitGold, and it helped to launch a Bitcoin technology. Okay, so next in the 2000 year, the Stefan Notz, he presents his cryptographic secure chain theory. Okay, in the year 2000. So it improved the secure chain theory, concept of secure chain theory. So next in the year 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto, so he or she, so this person is an unknown person. So he introduced the concept called the Bitcoin white paper. Okay, so he defines the model for a blockchain in the year 2008. So next in the 2014, the birth of blockchain 2.0. So it uses the other than means of exchange. Okay. Next in the 2020, DeFi applications. So it's going to surpass the 1 billion in the TVL. Okay. So here TVL means total value locked. So this becomes very popular. Okay. So this decentralized finance. So this helped the people to, so this DeFi application, it allows to do a trade or to borrow a money without the centralized bank. Okay, that is traditional bank. So this is how the history of blockchain evolved from the manual system to modern decentralized system. So next we will move into the stages of evolution. Okay, So how it is evolved? The first stage is manual records. Next comes the computer databases. Next, internet system. After that, cloud computing. Then at last is a blockchain technology. So let us look into one by one now. So in the manual system, the data was recorded in the ledger. Okay. So that means data is recorded manually. So it was a slow and time consuming process, right? And it was very difficult to update as well as to maintain. And there was a high chance of human errors in the manual records. So the next came the computer database. So it overcome by the manual record. Which one? Computer databases. So in the computer databases, the records were stored in the computer and it was a faster processing compared to the manual records, because hence here all the data was stored on the computer. The processing was very easy and faster compared to the manual records. Next, it was very easy to storage and to retrieve the data from the computer. So next comes the internet systems. So in this, online communication and transactions were made in the internet systems. So e-commerce as well as internet banking became very popular in this stage, that is internet systems. Next comes the cloud computing. So in this, where data was stored in the remote servers. Okay. So and it can be accessible from anywhere. Okay. So the whichever the data we have stored in the cloud, we can access it from anywhere at any time with the help of the internet. Next comes the blockchain technology. So in the blockchain technology, so the data is stored in many computer systems. Okay. So there is no centralized system here in the blockchain technology. Hence it is highly secure and it was a transparent. In the blockchain, it is very difficult to alter the data because as the data is stored in different computers. Okay. So these were the stages of evolution. Okay. From the traditional to digital system. So next we will move into the advantages of blockchain over the traditional systems. So what are the advantages? So we will look into one by one now. First thing is security. So as the blockchain uses the cryptography, so to protect the data from unauthorized changes, hence the security is more. Next, transparency. So all authorized participant can view the transaction history. Hence, it is a decentralized system. So as it is a decentralized system, here the transparency means all authorized participants can view the data, whoever alter the data or the transactions they can see transparently. Next, decentralization method. So that means no single authority is going to control the entire network. Hence, it is a decentralized system. Next, immutability. So once data recorded, it cannot be altered easily or it cannot be deleted easily. Okay. So it cannot be easily altered or deleted once it is recorded. Hence, it is a immutability. Next is trust. So transactions are verified through the consensus. It reduces the need for intermediaries. Okay. Next, efficiency automates processes and it reduces the paperwork through a smart contracts. So these are the some of the advantages of blockchain technology over the traditional one. Next, we will look into an introduction to blockchain technology. So what is this blockchain technology? So it is a decentralized and distributed. So what do you mean by blockchain? It is a decentralized and distributed digital ledger that records transactions in the form of a blocks. Okay. So these blocks are linked together using the cryptography. Understood? So each participant has a copy of the ledger, so making the system secure and as well as transparent. Okay. So this is about the blockchain technology. So what do you mean by blockchain technology? It is a decentralized as well as distributed digital ledger. Okay, not a manual ledger. It is a digital ledger. So that records each and every transaction in the form of a blocks which are linked together using the cryptography. Okay, hence we can say it is a more secure as well as transparent. Next, let us see the structure of the blockchain. See, as we said, it is stores in the form of a blocks, right? See, it has block n minus 1, block n and block n plus 1. So, what are the components it stores? The block has the components like header as well as it contains the previous block address, then the timestamp, nonce and Markle root. Okay, these are the some of the components where the block is going to have. So, see, block 1 is connected to block 2, block 2 is connected to block 3 and block 3 is connected to block 4. Okay, so each block is going to store the hash of the previous block address in the form of a hash. Okay, so this is how the structure of the blockchain looks. The characteristics of blockchain. So what are the characteristics here? We have decentralization. So no central authority controls the network. Next, transparency. All authorized participants can verify the transaction. Hence, we can say it is a transparency. Immutability means once data is recorded, it cannot be changed or deleted. Security, as it uses the cryptographic hashing technique, so to protect the data. Hence, the security is more in the blockchain. Consensus, transactions are validated by the network participants. Okay, so these are the characteristics of blockchain technology. So next we have how this blockchain is going to work. So the user requests a transaction initially. Okay, so initially what the user is going to, he is going to request for the transaction. So the transaction is broadcast to the network. Once the user requested the transaction, so that transaction is going to be broadcasted to the network. Hence, the nodes are verify the transaction. Okay, so the nodes are going to verify the transaction. So that valid transaction is going to add it to a block, where it is going to add it to the block. Then the block is linked to the blockchain. If it is a valid transaction, then that block is going to add to the blockchain. Then the transaction becomes permanent. Okay, so this is how the blockchain is going to work. Next, let us look into the applications of blockchain. So where we can apply this blockchain? So in the cryptocurrency, it enables the secure digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum without a central authority. Okay, it is going to be, cryptocurrency means it is going to enable the secure digital currencies like the Bitcoin as well as Ethereum. So without the central authority. So there is no central authority. It is a decentralized method. Next, banking. So it is going to provide the secure as well as faster and the low cost financial transaction. Okay, in banking also they are going to use this blockchain. Next, healthcare system. Why in healthcare? It safely stores and shares the patient's medical records. So while ensuring the privacy. Next, supply chain management. So it tracks the products from manufacturing to delivery, improving transparency, and it is going to reduce the fraud. Hence, the blockchain is used in the supply chain. Next, voting systems. It enables the secure as well as transparent and the tamper-proof electronic voting. What we are nowadays using in the elections and all, EVM machine. Okay, so there also we are using this EVM machine. Why we use there means it enables a secure as well as transparent and the tamper-proof electronic voting. Next, in the education system. So why we are using this blockchain in the education system? Because it's going to store the academic certificates, okay, and also the transcripts securely for easy verification. In the digital identity, it gives the user secure control over their digital identities and a personal information, like what they are going to store, our Aadhaar card, PAN card, everything we can get it, right? So digital identity. So these are the some of the applications where we can apply the blockchain. Okay. So next we have the distributed systems. So till now we studied what is blockchain, how it is going to work and the structure of the blockchain, then what are the advantages of blockchain and the applications of blockchain, right? So next we have distributed systems. So what is this distributed system means? It is a collection of independent computers connected through a network that work together as a single system. See here, we have so many computer systems, right? It's a collection of independent computers. See, this one is independent, right? Each one of them are independent computers. They are connected through a network. See, they are connected through a network. See, this line indicates a network. So that work together as a single system. So here we can see in the distributed system, it contains the collection of independent computer connected through a network and they are together working as a single system. So example, we can say Google search, then email services and also the online banking. Understood? So this we call it as a distributed system. So these are all independent nodes, okay, connected through the network and together they are working as a one single system. Okay, for example, here we have Google search, email service and online banking. Next, what are the characteristics of this distributed system? Here we have resource sharing. Hence, independent computers are together, right, in the distributed. So this is one, resource sharing. That means multiple computers are going to share the hardware, software as well as the data resources. Okay. Next, scalability. The system can easily expand by adding more computers or node. So still more computers we can add, okay, and they can be connected to these computers through the network. Hence, we can say scalability. The system can easily expand by adding still more computers to that distributed system. Next, transparency. So user is going to experience the system as a single unified system. Okay, next, fault tolerance. The system continues to operate even if some nodes are failed. Okay, so if any other system or one system get crashed or it's going to fail to work, then also the whole system is going to work continuously. Okay, it continues to operate even if some system or nodes are failed. Okay, hence we can say fault tolerance is one of the characteristics of the distributed system. Next, we have concurrency. So here multiple users as well as processors can access the resources simultaneously. Okay, so concurrency is one of the main characteristics of distributed. Why? Because multiple users and also the processors can access the resources simultaneously. Then reliability means data and services remain available through replication and redundancy. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics of distributed systems. Next, we have the advantages. So what are the advantages of distributed systems? First thing, we have resource sharing. So that means it allows multiple users to share the data, then as well as applications, as well as hardware resources to multiple users. Okay. Next, scalability. New computers can be added easily into the distributed system on the demand increases. So, okay. Next, high reliability. The system is going to continue to function or to work. So, even if some nodes are going to fail, okay, if some nodes or a system failed or a crash happens also, so the system continues its work. So, hence we can say it's having a high reliability. Next, fault tolerance. So, failures in one node do not stop the entire system. As we said, high reliability, if one system or two systems fails also, it's going to work. Okay, so there is no failure. So next we have improved performance. Workloads are distributed across multiple computers for faster processing. So improved performance means how we can improve the performance? By dividing the workload into too many other computers. So by distributing the workload across the multiple computers, so the work will be finished faster. Okay, so the faster processing is going to happen. Hence, we can improve the performance of the system. Next, cost effective. So it uses the multiple low cost computers instead of a single expensive machine. So bringing a large machine by putting a more amount on that. So instead of doing that, so we can use a multiple low cost computers. If one system crashes or if one system fails to work, hence we can replace it by easily, okay, with the low cost. So hence it is a cost effective. Next, high availability. Services remain accessible with minimal downtime. Okay, so these are the some of the advantages of distributed system, which are those: resource sharing, scalability, high reliability, fault tolerance, improved performance, cost effective, and high availability. Okay, so next we will move into the disadvantages of distributed systems. So till now we discussed the characteristics as well as advantages, right? So next we have the disadvantages. So all the systems should have advantages as well as disadvantages. So let us look into our disadvantages of distributed system. So first thing is complex management. So as we have too many computers are interconnected through a network, right? So hence we can say it's a complex management. So difficult to design, manage and to maintain. So hence we can add two more system into that distributed system, right? Hence it's leading to complex management. That means difficult to design as well as to maintain and also to manage. Next, network dependency. That means performance depends on reliable network connectivity. If one network fails, then it's going to leads to the performance. Okay, so the performance will be down. Next, security risk. Multiple node increases the potential security vulnerabilities. So as we are adding more and more nodes to that network, then it is going to lead to the security risk. Next, synchronization issues. So keeping the data consistent across nodes. So in all the system, we are going to keep the record, right? So keeping the data consistent across node is a very challenging one. Hence, there will be a synchronization issues. Next, fault detection. So identifying and fixing that issues, it can be difficult. Okay, fixing that failure is very difficult. Next, higher cost. It requires more hardware as well as software and also the maintenance resources. So it leads to a higher cost, obviously. Next, communication delay. So data transfer between the nodes may increase the latency. Next, scalability challenge. So expanding the system may require complex coordination. Hence, there exists a scalability challenges. So these are the disadvantages we can see in the distributed systems. Okay. So till now we discussed what is distributed system, what are the characteristics, what are the advantages and disadvantages, right? So next we will move into the distributed ledger technology. So what is this distributed ledger technology? So it is a technology that is going to store the identical copy of a digital ledger across multiple computers. Those computers we can call it as a nodes. So each participant maintains the same ledger. That is, blockchain is the most popular type of distributed ledger technology. Okay, so here in this figure we can see here there is no centralized system. So all one of the systems are going to maintain their own ledger. Okay, so all of them have their own ledger. So it's going to tell that what is this distributed ledger technology means. So it's going to store the identical copies. Each one of them have their own identical copies of digital ledgers across multiple computers. Okay, so this is going to show us a distributed ledger technology. So next we are going to know about what are the features of decentralized ledger technology. So first thing, we have decentralized. So here no single authority controls the ledger. So each one of the computers are having their own ledger, right? They are going to maintain their own ledger. Hence we can say it is a distributed one. That means data is shared and synchronized across the multiple nodes. Yes. Next we have the transparent. So why we can say it's a transparent? Because all authorized participants can view the transactions. So all of them can view the transaction. Hence we can say it's a transparent. Next, immutable means, so once the data recorded, that cannot be deleted or removed, okay, or it cannot be modified. Next, secure. Hence it is going to use the cryptography concept. So we can protect the data as well as the transaction, okay, hence it is more secure. Next, consensus based. That means transactions are validated through a consensus mechanism. Next, traceable. So every transaction is having their own permanent and auditable record. Hence it is easy for us to trace. So who has done which transaction, okay? So this transaction is done by who? So this thing we can trace it, okay, traceable. Next, fault tolerant. The system continues to operate even if some nodes fail, okay? If there are 4 different ledger, if one ledger fails, okay, then the system is going to operate continuously. So hence this is one of the most feature of the DLT, that is fault tolerance. So the system continues to operate even if some systems fail, okay. Then real-time synchronization. That means all copies of the ledger are updated simultaneously, okay. So that means real-time synchronization. So each and every time when the transaction is happened, it's going to be updated. The ledger is going to be updated, okay. So these are some of the features of distributed ledger technology. So next we will look into advantages of DLT. So what are the advantages? First thing, we have enhanced security. As it's using a cryptography method, so it's going to protect the data from unauthorized access, okay. Next, greater transparency. All participants can verify the transaction. Improved data integrity. That means records cannot be easily altered or tampered with. So once the data, whichever the data is recorded, it cannot be altered or it cannot be removed. Next, faster transaction. It enables the quicker processing without intermediaries. So there is no intermediate person. It's going to be enable the quicker process, okay. Hence we can say it's a faster transaction. Next, it reduces the cost. That means minimizes the operational cost by removing the middlemen. So as we said here, no intermediary, hence the faster transaction as well as the cost will be reduced. Next, high reliability means multiple copies of the ledger, that's going to prevent the data loss. So each and every ledger will be having the data, right? So if one ledger or one node is going to be lose the connection or it's going to be crash, then there is no data loss, okay. So that hence we can say it's a high reliability. Next, better traceability means every transaction can be tracked and it is audited. Hence we can say it's a better traceability, okay. So these are some of the advantages of DLT. So next we have the limitations. So what are the limitations of this DLT? Scalability problem. First thing, that means performance may decrease. Why? As the number of users and the transactions are increases, hence the performance is obviously is going to be decrease. Next, complex implementation. So designing as well as maintaining the DLT system this requires the specialized knowledge. Okay, hence it leads to a complex implementation. Next, regulatory uncertainty. Lack of clear laws and regulations, it's going to affect the widespread adoption. Okay, so these are the three limitations of DLT. Okay, so till now we discussed what is this DLT, that is distributed ledger technology, and what are the applications, then advantages as well as limitations. Next, we will look into a difference between the traditional database as well as the blockchain. So what are the difference between traditional? So traditionally it was centralized, whereas the blockchain, it is a decentralized one. So in the traditional, it can modify the data. So in blockchain, the data is immutable. Okay. So next, controlled by one authority, whereas the blockchain is controlled by network participants. Next, it's a low transparency. Here, it's a high transparency. Okay. Then it is easier to tamper. It's a highly secure one. Blockchain is a highly secure one. So these are the differences we can look in the traditional database as well as the blockchain technology. Okay. Next, we will look into a difference between the distributed as well as DLT. Okay. So distributed system, the multiple computers work together, whereas in the distributed ledger, multiple nodes maintain the same ledger. So in the distributed system, data may be centralized or it may be distributed, whereas in DLT, data is always distributed. In distributed, used for general computing, whereas in DLT, it is used for secure transaction recording. So in the distributed system, it's focused on the computation, whereas DLT, it focuses on maintaining the shared records. Okay, these are the some differences between the distributed system as well as distributed ledger technology. Okay. So in the next session, I am going to discuss regarding the blockchain architecture and components, structure of blocks, hashing concept, and chain formation process. Okay. So these are the topics I am going to discuss in the next session. So till then, keep studying. Thank you.